I never thought I'd be accused of faking a disability in the middle of a hospital. But that's exactly what happened. One minute I was waiting quietly after my cardiology appointment, and the next a complete stranger was yelling at me to get out of her wheelchair. And when the security footage came out, the entire hallway saw who the real liar was. My name's Emily. I'm 29 and I live with a condition called POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. It basically means when I stand up too long, my heart races out of control, my blood pressure drops, and I can pass out without warning. Some days I can walk short distances, others. I need my wheelchair. It's not for show, it's how I stay safe. That morning I'd finished a checkup at St. John's Memorial Hospital. My heart was still fluttering from the stress of the tests. I was parked in the hallway near the elevator, scrolling on my phone, waiting for my ride. And that's when she appeared. This woman, late 50s, bright green blouse hair, the color of overcooked spaghetti, stomped toward me like she owned the place. Her gold jewelry clinked and she looked me up and down like she was inspecting a crime scene. Then, loud enough for everyone to hear, she snapped, "Get out of that wheelchair. That's for people who actually need it." I blinked, thinking I must have misheard. I do need it," I said. "This is my personal chair." She gave this sarcastic laugh that could shatter glass. "Oh, please. You walked in here earlier. I saw you. You're young, you're fit. Don't pretend to be sick just to sit down." My stomach twisted. "Ma'am, I have a medical condition. I brought this from home." But she wasn't listening. She puffed herself up, one hand on her hip, the other waving around dramatically. I sprained my ankle in the parking lot. "I need that wheelchair now. The hospital said they're out, so I'll just take yours." She actually reached for the handles. I felt my hands shake as I gripped the armrests tighter. "Please don't touch it," I said quietly, but my voice trembled. "This is my medical equipment." She smirked. "Medical equipment, huh? Funny how you don't look disabled." I could feel heat rise in my face. Anger, embarrassment, disbelief, all tangled together. People had started watching. An older woman with a walker stared in shock. A nurse walking by slowed down, unsure whether to intervene. And of course someone had their phone out recording. Karen. Because yes, her name tag literally said Karen, threw her hands up dramatically. Unbelievable. These entitled kids steal wheelchairs now. No respect for the elderly. I wanted to disappear. Every word out of her mouth hit like a slap. I was shaking so hard my heart monitor app started beeping from the spike in my pulse. I took a slow breath and tried again. "This wheelchair is mine, prescribed by my doctor, fitted to my body. Please just stop." Karen's face turned crimson, clashing with her hair. "You're lying," she barked. And then she grabbed the handles and tried to yank the chair backward. "Do not touch my medical equipment," I yelled. My voice cracked, but it was loud enough that everyone froze. Karen looked stunned for a second, then exploded. "You're discriminating against me because I'm older. You think my pain doesn't matter." She was practically foaming at the mouth, screaming about lawsuits, about how I was stealing from real disabled people. By then, half the hallway had stopped to watch. The nurse finally stepped forward, her ponytail swishing. "Ma'am, please calm down. You can't take another person's wheelchair." Karen whipped around, bracelets jangling. "I'm not waiting in line for some front desk form. This girl's faking it." She jabbed her manicured finger at me like I was some zoo exhibit. "Look at her. She's fine." My heart was hammering. My vision narrowed, the world tilting slightly, the early signs that I was about to faint. I stared down at my hands, gripping the armrests, nails digging into the cushion, trying to stay upright, trying not to break down in front of this crowd. That's when a deep, calm voice cut through the noise. "What's going on here?" A security guard, Marcus, his name tag said, walked up. Tall, steady, radiating authority without even trying. Karen instantly switched gears, pretending to sob. "Officer, thank God you're here. This girl stole my wheelchair. I'm injured and she's mocking me." Marcus looked at her, then at me. "All right," he said, voice even. "Let's take a breath." "Ma'am, is that true?" I swallowed hard. "No. This is my personal chair. I have POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. I need it to prevent fainting spells. She's been harassing me." Karen gasped dramatically. "She's lying. I saw her walk perfectly fine." Marcus nodded slowly. "Ma'am," he said to her, "is your injury life-threatening or requiring emergency care?" She froze. Well, no, but it hurts. Then you should check in at the ER, he said calmly. If not, you can request a wheelchair at patient services. But you can't take someone else's equipment. Karen's mouth twisted. You're really taking her side. Look at her, does she look disabled? Marcus didn't flinch. I'm not a doctor, he said. You're not a doctor. We don't decide who's disabled by how they look. The hallway went silent. I actually felt tears sting my eyes, relief mixed with humiliation. Finally, someone said what I couldn't find the strength to. But Karen wasn't done. Her face darkened, her eyes wild. This is ridiculous, she screamed, and before anyone could react, she lunged forward and grabbed my armrest again, trying to tip me out of the chair. Gasps filled the corridor. The nurse shouted, "Stop!" Marcus stepped between us, instantly blocking her, his voice sharp now. "Ma'am, that's enough." He reached for his radio. "Security to corridor 2B, possible assault." Karen screamed, "He's attacking me!" Marcus didn't even blink. "Ma'am, the cameras are recording everything." Her head whipped toward the ceiling where a black security dome blinked red. She froze. "Already watching it, Marcus," a voice crackled from his radio. "We've got everything." Karen's bravado cracked right there. She stammered, I barely touched her. I was trying to help," Marcus said. "Then you can explain that in the security office." She crossed her arms. "I'm leaving." "No, ma'am," he said, calm but firm. "You're not." Another guard appeared, a younger woman in the same Navy uniform. They escorted Karen down the hall as she shouted about her rights, her pink rhinestone Crocs squeaking on the tile. The hallway finally exhaled. The nurse brought me a cup of water. "You okay?" she asked softly. I nodded weakly. "I think so." An older lady patted my shoulder. "You hang in there, dear," she whispered. "You did nothing wrong." Still, I couldn't stop shaking. My heart raced, adrenaline surging. I kept asking myself, how did this even happen? I started doubting myself, wondering if I'd somehow overreacted. Maybe I could have handled it differently. Maybe if I'd been quieter, she wouldn't have caused such a scene. But then I remembered her hand on my wheelchair, the look in her eyes when she decided I didn't look sick enough. And I realized, no, this wasn't my fault. I'd done nothing wrong. 20 minutes later, Marcus came back. He smiled kindly. "We reviewed the footage," he said. "It shows everything, her yelling, grabbing your chair, even pretending to limp before she saw people watching. Hospital administration's issuing her a trespass warning. If she ever steps foot here again for non-emergency reasons, she'll be arrested." I let out a shaky laugh. "So, she wasn't actually hurt," Marcus chuckled. "She walked out of here just fine. No limp, no pain. Security saw her walking normally from her car before she started her little performance." The nurse returned with a clipboard. "We've filed an incident report," she said. "The hospital's really sorry this happened. My cardiologist even came down to check on me." She looked furious. "This is unacceptable," she said. "Invisible illnesses are real." "You did everything right, Emily." She handed me a card for a patient advocate group. "You shouldn't have to justify your condition to strangers." As I was leaving, the man who'd been filming approached me. "Hey," he said, "I've got the whole thing on video. If you ever need proof, I'll send it." I smiled tiredly. "Thank you. I hope I never need it." He nodded. "My sister has POTS too. People don't get it until they see it happen." Marcus helped wheel me to the exit where my mom was waiting. She looked horrified when I told her what had happened. As she loaded my folded wheelchair into the trunk, I glanced out the window, and there she was. Karen, standing by her car, walking perfectly fine, yelling into her phone, waving her arms like nothing had ever happened. The irony was almost funny. Almost. 2 weeks later, I got a letter from the hospital's chief operating officer. A full apology, a promise to improve training on invisible disabilities, and even a voucher for a year of free parking as a goodwill gesture. I appreciated it. Parking costs add up, but more than that, it felt like validation. A few days later, I heard from the nurse that Karen had actually tried to file a complaint, claiming she'd been discriminated against for her injury. The hospital reviewed the footage again. It showed her walking normally into the building, faking a limp, then attacking me. Her complaint was dismissed instantly. Apparently, she even tried to argue she had a right to use any wheelchair she saw fit. The hospital's legal team sent her a cease and desist letter. She hasn't been back since. The whole ordeal left me drained, but it also sparked something. I joined an online POTS support group and we started talking about how often this happens. People with invisible illnesses being harassed because we don't look disabled enough. We put together a resource guide how to handle confrontation, what your rights are, how to respond when someone challenges your disability. A week later, I got a handwritten note from that older lady in the hallway. Inside was a card from her granddaughter. Turns out she also has POTS. We talk online now, sharing stories and encouragement. The nurse who helped that day added me on social media. She's become an advocate inside the hospital for awareness training. And Marcus, the security guard who stood up for me, got a commendation from the hospital for how he handled the situation. He deserved every bit of it. Looking back, I've realized something important. You can't see every battle someone's fighting. A wheelchair isn't just for people who can't walk, it's for people trying to live. Just because someone stands up doesn't mean they're faking. Disabilities don't always announce themselves. And as for Karen, she learned the hard way that security cameras don't lie. The lesson: never judge someone's struggle by how it looks from the outside.